We believe that you are strong by design, and you were made in God's image to have a strong body, mind, and spirit. You're listening to the #1 Strength and Health Authority podcast in the world. So let's get ready to unlock your potential and transform your life in today's episode. Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the Strong by Design podcast show. Your host, I guess I'm the host today.
You're the host.
No, we're all the hosts.
This is this is four hosts hosting, so I'm co-host.
We're all co-hosts. Yeah.
I'm just the lucky guy.
Are we all hosts or co-hosts? See, we already started off scrolling.
Yep. That's what happens.
It's not even a meeting.
I know. It's not even a huddle. So this is our spooky, scary Halloween special. Just something a little different that we haven't done yet on our show in our 4th year now on Strong by Design. Thank you for joining us and listening to our show today. If you're a new listener, we welcome you. We know you're going to have some fun today. You're going to have some laughs. You're going to get to know our whole team. And if you're a return listener, then you're going to know all these voices. At this point, I'm Chris Wilson. We have founder of Critical Bench, Mike Westerdahl, here today, who also hosts the Strong by Design podcast. And then Miss Tanya Fines, our in-house holistic health practitioner, and the one and only Samantha Harrison, who is the glue.
Super glue, gorilla glue, glitter glue.
Ooh, I like that one.
She's super glitter glue.
I like it. It's good. So, how should we kick this thing off? Should we just get into some funny, scary, spooky stories?
Should have had Monster Mash playing in the background.
That would
song.
be good.
Mac can add it.
Oh, the Monster Mash, the Monster Mash. He will put it in.
Okay, cool.
Graveyard Smash. Right? That's the Frankenstein voice.
That's Frankenstein voice, yeah.
And Sam just got uncomfortable.
It's like, I think I know this one, but I don't know.
Did I just date myself again?
That's how I always tend to work things. So that I make
All right, let's save the alien story for later. Who's got it?
Yeah, that's going to be at the end.
Do one of you guys want to go first?
No.
Do you?
I will. Sure.
Okay.
Mine's not.
Well, if it's not that spooky, then that's a good one to start with.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'll give you some background information. So the house that this happened in was the house I grew up in. My mom designed it. It looked very southern plantation. Thank you. I'm not plantain. What? No.
Oh, I like plantains.
Yeah,
I like plantation houses.
Yeah. So it had these big, giant columns in the front, and then this big, like, I don't know, triangular piece on the top of the house. It's very kind of hard to describe in words. But so first segment of the story, we ended up having woodpeckers figure out that they could burrow into these columns and the top triangle part of our house and build nests inside of those spaces. It was just styrofoam covered in some kind of plaster to kind of harden it. So that was a whole thing in and of itself, was these woodpeckers living in our house. And
sounds really annoying.
Like the little ones or the big woody woodpecker ones?
The smaller ones,
okay.
But they're really loud.
Yeah.
They're very loud and persistent.
Yes.
Very persistent.
And they nest in the same spot every year. So they were always coming back, even though we would, cover
like
the
family
holes.
that comes every year for
and
Thanksgiving.
They're protected.
Yeah.
My mom had to get a license to remove them and all this stuff. It was nuts. So we got rid of the woodpeckers, and we thought we had covered up all of the little holes in the house. Apparently, some summer, a bat had found its way into our attic through that triangular piece on the top of our house. And then 2 whole colonies of bats had found their way into the attic of our house.
Guano.
Yeah.
Guano.
Yeah. And we had one of those attic fans, so you could open this fan that just brought in air and just filtered throughout the house. One night, I got in bed. I don't know how old I was. 12, maybe? I don't know. Let's say I was 12. So one night I was in bed, and my door was open for whatever reason, and I heard this thing flying around my room and wind up in my closet. was like, well, that's not good. Don't know what that is. Not cool with this. So I go to my mom's room. She was always in bed early, and I wake her up. I was like, Mom, there's something in my room. I think it's a bat. She's like, no. There's no bat in your room. Just go back to sleep. She never
It's the
believed.
oldest excuse in the book, but this time it was true.
I know.
There's something in my closet.
What's funny is weird things would I would see the weird things, and I would go to my mom, and she would never ever believe me.
Oh,
I'm like, and even to this day,
Wait, she didn't check?
She did, but
I don't even think there was a bat in there.
no,
just
no,
kidding.
definitely. So, but she would never ever believe me. Even to this day, I could probably go like, "Mom, there's like something weird in your hair." She'd be like, "No, there's not. It's fine." I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, we have seen some weird things that you don't believe a word I say. So anyway, she comes into my room and she's filtering around the clothes in my closet, and this bat flies at her. I run to the opposite end of the house. I lock myself in her closet because I don't know why. I felt like closets were a safe space, even though there was a bat in my closet. So, yeah, I'm in my mom's closet for a good couple hours because I wasn't coming out of there. We had a company come and like find the bat that was flying around the house. They trapped that one and got it out, and they were like, "You shouldn't see any more in the house as long as you keep these things closed or whatever." So went back to bed, and like over the course of the next like 3 to 4 weeks, we would get random bats just flying around the house. There was one particular day my parents had gone out for the evening, and we had a babysitter, and me and my two brothers were upstairs with the babysitter doing something, I don't know, and we had to go downstairs, and hanging on like the side of the railing was this, but we had to go under it, was this giant bat. We could not get downstairs without
how
walking
big?
under, like
Like a
a
foot?
bat. Yeah.
Like a bat.
like an animal. An animal.
A big one.
Well,
Like
you're-
a good foot.
And when
like
you're
for our
12?
listeners. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Or
grew up in
smaller?
Florida, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Florida. I know there are bigger bats.
I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just, it's...
But like the ones that have like the face kind of smashed up and
Yeah.
just terrifying when you're a little kid and you have to walk under this bat and try, not to disturb it so it flies at you. So we got out of the house. I don't remember why we were trying to go downstairs, but I remember going to the neighbor's house at that point because the babysitter was not having a bat in the house with kids that she was watching while my parents were gone. So yeah, it took a long time for them to get all of the bats because it was 2 colonies worth, which is thousands
Oh
of
my
bats.
in the
How did
house.
they get rid of them? Like poison?
No, they didn't poison them. They somehow like baited them
Okay.
to leave, and like
they
once
do
one
good
of them
things.
goes,
Yeah.
we didn't have many mosquitoes around. I'm sure. I don't.
There's no.
They do a good job of
They
that.
do.
Yeah,
They
they're
eat
very
all
good.
the bugs.
They do
that-
a lot of
yeah.
good
They
things.
do,
have them
but
in
you
their
don't want them in your
backyard.
house.
You don't
No,
want 'em
not
in-
inside.
Yeah.
They
They make
fly
a
all,
mess.
they fly all around the
And that
backyard.
sound they make, that leathery, flappy sound.
And when it's in
It's
your,
awful.
Yeah, it's pretty scary when you're a little kid, and
That's
you don't
spooky.
know when to expect or not expect a bat.
Do you have a fear of closets today?
Yeah, and I actually got stung in the neck by a scorpion in a closet too. So I
What?
should.
Where?
Yeah.
Why
In
are
the
these
neck?
weird things in your
Weird
closet?
stuff happens to me. I don't know.
A scorpion sting?
scorpion.
There was a scorpion in your closet, and it
It was
were
in
you
my
crawling
brother's
on the
closet.
floor?
Oh,
We were
Florida
playing hide
scorpion?
and seek. Yes,
I haven't seen those here.
we had them in the house where we lived.
Are
My
they
mom.
like Costa Rica scorpions? Like it hurts like a bee sting, but it's not going
it
to kill
didn't
you?
really hurt a whole lot. The only reason I really knew it was a scorpion was because we found it afterwards. But
Like,
my
did
mom.
you have to go to the hospital or anything?
No, I was okay. They gave me some Benadryl. I passed out. That's fine.
So it's kind of felt like a bee bite, like a
Yeah.
bee sting, I
Yeah.
should say.
There's
Not
ones in Costa Rica that they're not going to kill you, but it stings like a bee.
Right.
And there's bats everywhere.
Yeah.
Outhouses, and we would just ignore it and just go to the bathroom anyway, and they're just hanging there looking at you.
Yeah.
And then the
Oh,
kids
no,
are
thank
like,
you.
"There's a
No.
bat in there." I'm like, "Well, just go."
Well, now I
Do what you
really
gotta
have
do.
to go.
My mom was pretty convinced our house was built on Indian burial grounds, but weird stuff happened in that house.
How long did you live there?
I was 5 when we moved in, and I moved out when I was 18.
Wow, that's a lot of years of weird stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was.
Sounds like a beautiful house, though.
That's a
was
pretty good
beautiful
story,
house.
though.
We could talk about the wasps that we had.
So you did, like,
the
pests?
alligators.
Like,
yeah,
just
lots of weird pests.
somebody
and then
wanted you
other
at that
stuff,
house.
but we're not going to go there today because that's too much.
Let's just
It's
stay on
kinda
the
heavy.
on the spooky,
wolves.
scary Halloween
Yes.
animals.
No wolves.
Wolf ghosts from the Indian burial ground.
Oh, there
Probably. But
you go.
it was
Wolf
just,
ghosts.
it was a weird, my childhood was very strange.
But you turned out okay.
No
I
wonder
think
she's
so.
good at keeping
I think
things
so.
together.
Well, you can pass that weirdness on to your kids.
I hope not. I'm doing everything I can to not do that.
Our team would like to thank you so much for listening to the Strong by Design podcast. And if you're enjoying today's show, please share this episode with at least one friend or family member who will benefit from this message. And please subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Go to strongbydesignpodcast.com. That's strongbydesignpodcast.com. Let's get back to the show.
So Tanya,
No, we need to hear from a male in the
would you
group
get
now.
your microphone in
Sorry, I was
place?
drinking my coffee.
I know you
the
were.
The bat story got me all Twitter-pated. I'm like, because I have a fear of bats.
Sorry.
Even though I know they're good, I have a fear of them.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So we want. Who do you want?
A male. We need to hear from
I'll
one of the
go.
guys
Okay,
now.
all right. Let's do
Yeah.
Mike's. Let's see what Mike's got.
But you just gave me an idea, though, because we've brought in some fake things here. Like fake,
Yes.
what?
Poop.
Poop,
Snakes?
Snakes.
a fake snake.
Well, it's
So now we can
lovely.
do the fake bats.
Scorpions. Yeah. No, I don't.
Oh, we'll put things in the storage closet.
Poor Kristen is going to be wanting
Maybe
to
she
find
hasn't
those.
even heard the episodes. She
That's
doesn't
what I'm
even-
saying. We should totally get her. She doesn't even know what's
If you're
going
not
on.
here, you become the
Is this
target.
kind of like admitting guilt? Like, like we're planning the thing.
Premeditated.
Premeditated. And
Her and Jamari should get spooked totally at some point here.
I don't know if you can spook Jamari. He's so chill. He's just always so
you-
calm
I
and
think
chill.
you- I think you
I think you
could.
could
You?
get him.
Oh,
He-
he gets super spooked or not even know what was going on.
right.
Yeah.
Kind of like head in the clouds kind of thing going on.
All right, here's mine. I don't know how old I was. I'm thinking like second grade's my guess. And I was sleeping at night, and then in the corner of my room in the middle of the night, kind of near where the nightlight was, I saw an old man sitting in a chair,
Yikes.
kind of staring over at me. And I didn't get the feeling of terror or horror or like I was going to die. No, it wasn't a bad feeling, but it was definitely like there's like an old guy looking at me. So I got up out of my bed and I went to my mom's room and I told her and I explained this guy. And I told her what he looked like. And she went in and looked and there was nothing there. And then she said, sounds exactly like my grandfather that you're explaining. Now, my parents were immigrants from Sweden, so we're living in Virginia, but all of their family and my family, they're all living in Sweden. And Sweden, I don't know the exact time change. I think it's like 10 hours difference. So it's the middle of the night for us, but it's the morning for them. So then the next morning after this happened, we got a phone call. My mom got a phone call from her mother saying that her grandfather had passed away the night before. And they waited till the morning to
Just got goosebumps.
you just gave me goosebumps.
Wait,
Goosebumps give me
goosebumps are catchy?
It's like a yawn.
Oh, it is.
So
He stopped at your
probably-
house on his way
Stopped by to
wherever he
say-
was headed.
he probably stopped by on his way to heaven to just be like,
Got your
you know,
back.
no harm, no foul.
Hey, little guy.
Have a good life.
Yeah, smoking his corncob pipe or whatever he had going on.
He wasn't-
He wasn't smoking.
I don't even remember what he
Oh
looked
my
like,
gosh.
but
Oh, I got goosebumps.
Yeah,
That-
so that's my spooky story. Then that always leads to the question of, do you believe in ghosts? Ooh. And I don't even consider it a ghost. I consider that was just like his spirit kind of passing through on his way to heaven. But it's Halloween. Who believes in ghosts?
I know. Well, there are a lot of accounts of people who have that outer body experience when they're like, technically
Yeah.
dead at a hospital or something, where they see themselves. There's been
It happened to my mom.
I've heard tons of stuff where they actually see and know
themselves,
things
yeah.
that they shouldn't see or know that are happening in real time,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, like they kind of come back, and it's like how can you explain the knowledge or the information that they have when they were technically clinically dead, and they're able to remember things that were happening at the exact moment.
Yeah.
So it's like they could see doctors working on them on their body, and it's like weird stuff.
Or even in like pediatric units in the hospitals where they'll see kids like waving to somebody, but there's nobody there.
There's
but
nobody
it's just
there. Yeah,
somebody.
there's a lot of stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, I believe in definitely spiritual
Like a soul.
realm. Yes, soul. I think we all have a soul, and I believe in angels, and I believe in demons.
Right.
And I think it's really hard for us to really know the difference sometimes. So I think it's a realm that I personally don't get involved in. So my truth just comes from the Bible, but we looked this up before the podcast. It was a definition of divination, which means seeking knowledge of the future or the unknown by supernatural means. And there was so many different examples of this. It's like psychics, mediums, palm readers, astrology, fortune telling, tarot cards, any way of trying to predict the future, not coming from God's truth in the Bible. And the Bible is just pretty clear that that's not something you want to do, that the truth comes from God. So I do believe demons are real. But that's why it's nothing that Christians need to be afraid of, but I do think it's a real thing. There's spiritual warfare going on. So like those kinds of movies, those are the ones I don't watch. Those are the ones that actually really scare me, are the ones that have to do with getting possessed and demons and Ouija boards. That's the stuff that I don't like because that's real stuff. And I don't even want to like open myself up to any of that.
Right.
The stuff that's just like, I don't even really like horror movies anyway, but it would be less scary just the slasher type movies because it's just
like the Jason ones and the Michael Myers. It's just all a bunch of horse
Pocky.
whatever that word is that comes after it. It is. I mean, it's just a bunch of silly nonsense horror film, like scare you, get people screaming in their seats. But you're right. Those other ones seem way more like real. They kind of sit with you.
Some of them are based on events and things too.
Real events.
What has anyone done research on Halloween? Like what it
Wasn't it originally like a Christian?
That's what I read.
Yeah.
I read about it. I think the last couple
year
Halloweens
we talked
did it
about
together.
This. Yeah,
and it kind of went
I can't
nowhere.
Remember, yeah, but
it feels like it's gotten so changed and turned into all
did
different things.
change.
And I was like, is it? Wow, it like started as a Christian holiday, got changed into a bunch of other things.
But there was a reason why they had it. Like, and it wasn't called Halloween. There was a reason
Saints
for
Day.
it. Yes,
I think it was for the pagans, which was what people that just don't believe in God. As they had a celebration going on already, and it was a way to like merge that with Christianity or something. I don't know. It was something strange. Sam, I feel like you know the answer to this.
I don't.
Oh, you don't?
She always has that look.
Sam's our Google.
She is our Google.
We
She's
don't
our
want to
Siri.
type. We just
She's
go.
our.
Hey Sam. Hey Sam.
Great. I mean, obviously, I think most people don't think too deep or too much on it. I think Halloween has just become pretty superficial for most people.
Just
where
a fun day.
It's a fun day for your kids to wear a funny costume or to dress up and do something silly, go to a party and walk around your neighborhood, get to know your neighbors, get some free junk food, and it's just a fun celebration.
Yeah,
but
and it's all how you look at it, and I agree with you with that. But there's people that are looking forward to this all year. They get into it like in the middle of September.
Yeah,
they got the haunted house set up. They've got the attic stored with all kinds of murder, horror, gory blood things.
Yeah,
and
a little too into
duct
it.
tape
Right?
and shovels.
Yeah, when like August isn't even over and the people are already breaking out cobwebs and spiders and coffins and grim reapers.
People
and
leave the house. Kids leave the house crying and running.
Right. I don't want to go back there. I don't want to walk up
There's
to
a
that
couple
door.
houses in our old neighborhood. The kids like wouldn't even go to the door.
Yeah.
And it's like the guy dressed as Jason with the fake chainsaw. It's like,
a little bit too
it's
into
like,
it.
is that necessary? Kids, you pretty much stop trick or treating by the time. By the time they're like 12 or 13.
Yeah, that's a bit. Yeah, for the little ones.
So, what's your story, Tanya?
Okay, so a little bit of a backstory too. My grandfather on my dad's side, he was a farmer, and he basically the house he grew up very poor and then built this house, And there was something always about that house, just weird stuff always happened. And you just felt weird in it. Not necessarily bad weird, but it was like you could feel something. And all of us kids growing up were always like, God, like nobody ever wanted to go in the basement because it just felt... You'd be coming down the stairs, be like if Mom was like,
It gets colder down there.
Well, and he had like the old root cellar, like it was dirt floor and all that. So you'd be like, can you go to root cellar and get potatoes for supper? And you'd be like, no, can we just have rice? Like you just didn't want to go to the root cellar. So
Florida kids are like that with the upstairs.
We were all freaked out by it. So now he lived in that house pretty much alone most of his life because his wife died young. My dad was like 15 when his mom died. But we spent all of our summers, we were always at the farm. And I loved being at the farm. Grew up riding horses and just having fun. But man, that basement was scary. So as I got older, there were times that sometimes, because I was living in Vancouver, but I had my farm friends. So I would sometimes go for like a week or two before my family so I could have some time with my friends. And this one night, we were out like at a bush party, having fun and stuff. And I get back to my grandfather's house, and he was a really heavy sound sleeper because he was like up at 4. He worked hard all day and then just collapsed in bed at the end of the night. And he was a huge snorer. And the house wasn't that big, so my room was kind of kitty corner. I think you guys down here say catty. In Canada, we say kitty corner.
Mm-hmm.
Catty corner, yeah, catty.
We say kitty.
I
Do
think,
you?
But
I
that
think
might
people
be
say
England.
both. I think people mix them up.
Depends. Okay,
Yeah.
so you know what I mean. Diagonal. Mm-hmm. So I got into bed, and I'm still trying to be really quiet. I mean, I knew I wasn't going to wake him, but I get into bed, and I'm laying there and about to fall asleep, and I could swear, like I could hear him snoring. But it was like I could hear the bed springs, like he got up, and he was a big man, like just a big, all muscle. He was like this table. He was solid. So when he walked rather heavy. And it was a lino floor, and he had no electricity or running water in the house. He had no running water. So we had the 2 buckets of well water with the little dipper for.
Oh, yeah.
So when you would get a drink, you could hear the clink clink of the
Ladle,
ladle
like,
in the bucket. And I heard him get up and walk, like come out of his room and stop in front of my door, and like knock 3 times, like knock knock knock. And I was like, yeah, I'm home. And then go and get a drink. And I heard the ladle in the bucket and heard him go back to bed. But the whole time I could hear him snoring. And I'm like, is he sleepwalking? Like, what's...
He was snoring while you heard all the steps and the knocking and all this.
And so I just, I was like, 16? I just wanted to go to bed. So I'm starting to fall asleep. And I hear, again, I hear like him come down the hall, stop in front of my door, knock, go get a drink. And this time I'm like, how is he okay? He's drinking a lot of water, but I can hear him snoring. What's going on? And then come back and just sort of pause in front of my door and then go back to bed. And at this point I sit up and I turn, there's a little bed light behind the bed, and I turned it on now because now I'm kind of a little freaked out. And I sat like that for probably 20 minutes because I'm like, now I can't sleep. I'm wide awake. Mm-hmm. So nothing happened. I thought, okay, well, I probably had a beer or two, so maybe I was just not,
Right.
So I turn off the light. As soon as I turn off the light, I can hear him get up out of bed, come walk by my door, knock on the door.
You didn't open the door?
Are you kidding me? No. Hear knock on the door, and I could hear the ladle in the metal.
On.
That went on. I didn't sleep. Until I heard, when I did hear him get up in the morning, because I could hear him like wake up. Yeah.
So, but if he was sleepwalking, you can't even ask him if he was getting up.
No, at one point, back up a little bit. I got the nerve to get up, and I opened, because the house was small, and I opened the door, and he was like lying in bed sound asleep. And I would always, when I would come home, I would just kind of check in and like, he's asleep. Like I said, when he fell asleep, he laid in bed. He did not move. Like, I think he's one of these people that when he woke up in the morning, he just had to flip the bed sheet like this because there was
like
really
12,
a bed to make.
12 times he might have gotten up.
I think he was, I don't know what it was, but that's my spooky, scary story.
But just this over and over sound
over
of
again,
him up, walking.
Knocking on my door.
Knocking.
Every time, getting a drink and coming back.
Has he ever knocked on your door any other time like
Never.
that?
He's never even woken up. The only time I ever have known him to wake up in the middle of the night was shortly, I think I was about 12 or 13, and somebody said, you need to get fire alarms installed. And he was like, well, okay, I guess so, because he lived alone. He was out on it's not like you could call the fire department. If your house caught fire, it was burning to the ground. Right. So they were thinking, at least because he was such a heavy sleeper, that a fire alarm would wake him up, he could get out if that were to happen. So there was, I think my dad and his brother installed them. So of course that night the fire alarms all go off at like 3 a.m. So we were all like, boom, wide awake. That's the only time I ever remember him waking up in the middle of the night.
Was there any murders in the house or anything?
Not that I know of, but I don't know what was in that basement, man. That was a creepy basement.
Basements just kind of are.
That basement was...
Think about any scary movie with like one of those older homes. The basement's the one spot in the house, or the attic, I guess. But really, the basement. That's the room you don't want to end up in. That's where they got you locked up, chained up, body parts getting removed. You're going in a furnace.
The in-house surgery center.
Right. All kinds of stuff.
But that story, I've only ever told to one other person because I didn't think no one's ever going to believe me. And I just told thousands. But I'm like, at this point, whatever. People can think what they want. But I just never thought anybody would believe me.
It's kind of cool, though. I mean, it's a cool story. Yeah. I don't. It
could have been like Michael the Archangel walking by a few times.
Then why didn't he just walk in and be like, "Hey, we need to chat"?
Right.
And the fact that when I had said, because I think
did you ever go back?
Go back. Oh yeah, I did.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
But I mean, that house, there was, and actually all of us, all of his grandkids, we all have a story from that house.
Yeah.
And nothing bad happened to anybody. We all have a story.
But everyone here has probably been in a place before where you just feel like there's something's wrong. There's an energy or a feeling.
I felt like that this morning in your office.
It's all the superheroes.
It's all my.
I feel threatened.
It's all my action figures in there looking at you. Yeah. No, could be. What are you nodding at?
I'm nodding at Hulk back there.
Okay.
We got
that's true.
The gargantuan
this
Hulk.
new sideshow statue.
Thank you so much for listening to the Strong by Design podcast. To help our show reach more listeners just like you, please let us know how we've changed your life by leaving a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Go to strongbydesignpodcast.com. That's strongbydesignpodcast.com. Let's get back to the show.
Brian and I were just in Ohio for a wedding, and we stayed at this place called Punderson Manor.
That just sounds spooky.
State park. Yeah, apparently it's haunted, which I knew before we went, but I didn't want to read any stories beforehand. I just wanted to experience it. I didn't feel anything weird going in because usually I would, but I didn't feel anything weird going in there. I didn't see anything spooky.
What about Brian?
No? I think he was completely oblivious to the whole thing, but. Well, it was still a really interesting place to stay.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
You can do there's a haunted tour in Tampa.
Yeah.
That you can hop on. It's, there's adult beverages provided, but it's actually a historical kind of tour. It takes you to different places that are apparently allegedly haunted in Tampa.
There's this bridge south of here in Tampa Bay called the Skyway Bridge that connects St. Pete to Florida. And there's museums, and they've talked about that bridge being haunted because I don't remember when. But it broke and some cars drove off of it.
Early 80s. Yeah.
Didn't a ship hit it or something?
A ship hit it.
Yeah.
A ship hit it, and then some cars drove over, and people died. And then people at the museum, there was stories where people said they saw people or ghosts on the bridge. Oh my God. Well, you don't want to be stuck in no man's land. It's go where you need to go. Don't just linger.
Unfinished business, I guess. I don't know. If you were driving to St. Pete,
you don't get to finish your business. It's one chance. Yikes. When you're done, you're done. Get in and get out. Don't hang around.
Right. I don't know. It's
I'm not even talking to them.
No. I don't want to know all that stuff until I am one of those things. You know what I'm saying?
One of those things.
And when I'm just a soul floating around without my body, then I can learn all there is to know. I feel like it's not my place right now.
You and Mike will go on into the afterlife and just come back and haunt people. They'll just be floating around.
Do weird pranks on people.
Some people ask God for wings and stuff. Or can we just go back
a little bit? Can we just go back and prank people?
I really don't. I don't think he'd let you go back.
I don't think so. I think it's a one-way ticket. That's what I think.
It's in or out.
One chance.
So this is spooky,
See,
scary
the
stuff.
spooky stuff could just be demons floating around.
Yeah. But you know what they say, or what I've heard too, is that even the demons believe in God. They believe that he exists. They just don't believe in him.
Well, they don't trust in him, but they believe him.
That's right. They don't trust in him. There's a big difference between
Do they fear him?
believe that,
Is that what it
believe
is?
in.
Belief or fearing? Do they fear him?
Well, for them to fear him, they have to believe. They believe he's true. They know he's God. There's stories in the Bible about that, with exorcisms and demons and the pigs that all went and jumped off the hill because the demons wanted out just for seeing Jesus.
Well, hey, I believe in a spiritual realm. It's just that the realm we're in is different. But I think there probably are. Maybe are there people with more of like a sixth sense, that have like kind of that old movie that was Bruce Willis is so good, The Sixth Sense, like you said, kids in like the pediatric area or of a hospital who like.
That could be just a one experience thing, though. Like,
right. It could be a one-time
like
event.
Didn't quite die, or you went to heaven and came back, things like that.
Right. I mean, I've always thought, because I've lost several of my family members at a relatively young age, and all of them at different, over like the last 15-year period, that, it would be great to see my brother again or see my mom again or something, but maybe I'm just not supposed to until that. Well,
even if
comes,
you had some communication, how do you know that's them? That could be something else. This is from the article I printed from gotquestions.org, where I looked up divination, if I'm saying that correctly.
Yes.
But it said the spirit world is real, but it is not innocent. According to Scripture, those spirits that are not the Holy Spirit or angels are evil spirits. So if you're not being led by the Holy Spirit or talking with an angel, the rest of it, I'm not interested. I'm not having a conversation.
Yeah, I like what it says in James here, or what James references, the book in the Bible, James. Christians need not fear the spirits involved in divination. Neither are Christians to seek wisdom from them. The Christian's wisdom comes from God. So
they're fun stories, and they're nothing to be afraid of. And, we're going to have a fun Halloween, just playing dress up and eating some candy.
Right. That's exactly.
What's Chris's story?
Okay, so this is weird.
You
this
look
is
pained. It's like somebody just hurt you.
Because it really has nothing to do with Halloween, and it's not that spooky.
Although it was around Halloween, I will say that it was like October, November time frame, and it's my mom's story, and it felt very real to her, and it was one of those things where was it like some type of alien encounter, or it was an unexplained event that she had no explanation for?
A UFE?
A UFE?
Unexplained flying event?
Could be. You could call it a UFE if you'd like. But it wasn't just her that was involved in it. And I think a lot of people at the time were flabbergasted at what they saw. So my mom was years ago in a bowling league, and she would routinely, one night a week or a couple nights a week, go and bowl with her group, her league. And it was dark. It was, New England. So it was probably, say 6, 7 o'clock at night, and it was already completely dark out. It was getting near, winter time, late fall. And she's getting out of her car, and she sees a congregation of people kind of forming outside the bowling alley looking up, and they're looking up at a light, a very kind of bright light coming from above. She said she had to estimate it was maybe 100 feet up above them. There was no sound at all. She said there was no sound. It was completely quiet. It wasn't a helicopter. There was no sound at all. It was just hovering there. And people said they saw it move a little bit, And they were just standing there, like looking, like, what is this? I mean, this is long before drones and stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
so
There's
this
a couple of deer like got sucked up.
it could be. Poof! A couple animals flew up in the air. Yeah, maybe they're coming for
just
ET.
hunting.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is the '80s. You know what I mean? So this is long before like technology that exists today that would explain it. And they were just looking up at this bright light that was making no sound whatsoever. Couldn't explain what was causing this light, and then in an instant, it flew,
Just gone.
disappeared like super, super fast into the sky, gone.
How big of a light? Like a star or like a really big?
Fairly large, like it looked like it was a light coming off of an object, like pretty bright, like a spotlight,
Like
large.
in the sky or in space?
No, like I said, like maybe 100 feet above them.
I wasn't paying attention during that part.
Yeah. She said it was probably at about the
There's a
same
test
height
mic.
as the tops of the tallest trees in the area.
Okay.
She said it felt like it was about that height above them. Like it felt close, but it was just really bizarre. Can't explain it. Not sure what it was, and it left like
In a hurry. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that's an alien story.
So that's something.
Wow.
I don't know. I mean, and that's obviously it's a little different. It's not
But that's
Halloween
kinda,
necessarily,
spooky. I'd
so
be like,
spooky.
whoa.
but it's kind of like, how do you explain some of these weird things? Like, you know,
I think whenever there's a lot of people staring at one thing, something bad's about to happen. That's when everyone just gets blasted.
yeah, I think you're right.
You'll all go home and wake up with
I
like
tell you, there's
tentacles or something.
This isn't much of a story, but there was in the house I lived in it was a condo in high school. Mike remembers where that was. I was on the end of a road. I lived in a small condo complex that ended, like dead ended, and it was in a park was right nearby there. And at the end of my street, right across the road, was one of those like old 2-story white kind of colonial looking houses that was a bit unkept and a bit kind of in bad shape. And the upstairs window, I think it was one of those houses that kids would just kind of find themselves in because if they could find a door that was open, it was an empty house. They
Yeah.
would go in and do stuff they probably weren't supposed to do or whatever. And there was a noose hanging up in the attic.
You went in there?
I went in there once, and I
Oh my
remember
gosh.
when I saw that thing, I turned the corner. I was in there creeping around, probably like a lot of other kids had done, and I'm in there with my buddy, and we're looking, and we're like, whoa. I got the weirdest, awful, like scared, like get me out of here feeling. And it was like a legit noose, like hanging, and I'm like, and I wasn't sure if it was being used or had been used or what was. So I mean, we got out of there and never went back in that place because I was just like, and I think not that much longer, it was the house was wrecked
Demolished?
and demolished, and but I just that was that feeling of like something doesn't feel right,
Like a
something-
first date gone horribly
like
wrong?
a first date, like you go out to date and it's a vegetarian, you're like, oh, this isn't going to go well.
vegetarian.
Right, I had one of those. Can we talk about that?
Well, that is
That was
spooky.
That's
spooky
another
and scary.
episode.
Oh, that is another episode.
Did you get the lentil
Dude,
burger?
It was the worst date of my life. Let me just tell you, I couldn't even order dessert. I'm like, I can't
Look
do
at
this
you
again.
still eat meat?
Oh, of course. But this
It just
I-
bothered you so much what they're eating?
No, I found there was it opened up the floodgates of a conversation that I didn't want to have, and I realized the restaurant we were at that she picked was like a vegetarian restaurant. So I don't think I could have gotten meat if I wanted to. I'd never been to this place, so I didn't know what was going on. You know. Anyway,
That
was
happened to me at Busch
scary.
Gardens. I tried to order this burger. It was called something.
Beyond Burger?
Yeah, I was in line, and I said, "Well, take those sliders." She's like, "They're Beyond Burgers," and I'm like, "Okay." She's like,
Sounds great.
She's like, "They're vegetarian." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "That's the booth with the bison and the beef right there." I'm like, "How did you know I didn't want that?"
You don't. Yeah. Something
don't quite
strikes
look
me
like
that
one.
you're not a
Look like
vegetarian.
the type.
You don't have the droopy eyes and the.
You don't smell like carrots.
You don't have jaundice. Just it. We love you, vegetarians.
We do. Just not as much as meat eaters. Just kidding. I have a lot of friends who are, well, maybe not.
Maybe
Maybe
like
not
3.
anymore.
Maybe not. Yeah, we just lost.
We just lost-
We
I know,
just
there's a
lost
whole
10%.
segment. They're like,
They
"That's
just
it."
hung up. They
Yeah,
just
but
turned off the.
I love plants. I eat
Frank's-
plants all the time.
I play Plants vs. Zombies a lot. Did I not get mushrooms and peppers on my omelet this morning?
You did.
Yes.
Congratulations. I'm an omnivore. I like a little bit of everything.
This is what happens in every meeting, by the way.
Yeah.
We're talking about spooky Halloween, and now
we're talking about omelets.
Now we're talking about vegetarians and omelets. So this is a good time to...
We're a focused group.
To
reel it in.
I got to reel Chris back in. Get us back on track here. Any other spookiness to talk about?
I'm all spooked out.
All right, happy Halloween, everybody.
Yeah, happy Halloween.
Don't
Happy
go.
Halloween.
Don't go communicating with
wait
any
to dress
evil
up.
spirits.
Yeah, please don't.
Don't
Just
use our frequency on iTunes here to be part of it or anything.
Yes,
Fun
happy
costumes.
trick-or-treating,
Yeah.
fun costumes.
Don't rot your teeth out, and make sure you give out the good
Oh wait,
candies.
what do you
to the
guys
kids
pick your
in the
costumes
neighborhood.
yet?
Yeah, I know what I'm gonna do.
What?
I'm gonna be Adam Sandler's Zohan.
Oh, I like
Thanks for the Zohan.
Can you do that in a TikTok later?
Once I have the full outfit,
Is that going in the costume bag for good, or is that just like a
I'll
one-time
lock.
thing?
Once I have all the parts for it, I'll lock that into the costume.
When's
bag.
your Lollipop Guild thing going live? Is that up yet?
Oh boy.
I'm not sure.
Check out our TikTok at The Critical Bench, and you can see
yeah.
Chris dressed up doing funny
He loves to
dances,
dress
and yeah, he plays dress up all the time.
You know it.
He's got a whole bag of Halloween costumes.
For sure.
Yeah,
I really do.
You're Zohan.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything?
Yeah. Oh, I dress up every year. Have for years.
What are you going to be?
I'm not sure. I'm undecided. It might be Wednesday Addams.
Ooh.
Who?
Oh, Wednesday from the Addams family.
Yes.
Oh, I like that.
So I might be Wednesday Addams, or I might be a cop.
We should have a dress up day here for one day.
Oh yeah.
We should
What are you
do
going
it.
to do, Sam?
Do we get candy?
I don't know yet.
Come on.
Yes.
Sam. Yeah, we got to dress up.
Well, our coaching with Will is over by the end of the month, so yes, we can have candy.
We have to go for lunch dressed up.
Oh my god.
Yes, we do.
See,
yeah.
First watch.
Brian
in
and I are
costume.
building our Gasparilla pirate costumes, and so that's what we've been wearing, and we'll add a piece every year.
Because
yeah.
that's
It's
an
expensive.
investment. If you're
Yeah.
in Florida and you do Gasparilla, that's an investment. I want a pirate
So
costume.
that's probably what we'll
Gasparilla?
do. Huh?
What?
Gasparilla.
She said Jasperilla.
Oh.
No, I said Gasparilla.
Okay.
A soft
That's
G.
what Swedish people do. They
Is it
say
raining?
Y's instead of J's.
Is it? Gosh, it might be.
Sounds like it's raining.
Shoot, it hasn't rained in a couple days. It's
So
weird for us.
Lincoln's gonna be Snake Eyes.
Oh yeah.
It's
And
gonna be
then
what?
Snake Eyes. He's a ninja guy for G.I. Joe who just had a movie come out, and I'm gonna be. Well, I was gonna be a matching type of karate ninja guy with him, and I found a Cobra Kai kind of like vest with a head thing, and that won't be so hot because it's sleeveless.
So you can be Johnny Lawrence.
And then I can show off the guns.
You should get a blonde wig. That'd be great.
Just any hair, I'd be happy.
It is raining.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Any.
All right, so it's raining, so we gotta go.
Yeah, we gotta stop the show at this point.
All right, Chris, give it the wrap up.
I'm reeled back in.
We'll
so
be done in like 10 minutes. But
I love it. That was a lot of fun, actually.
It was
It's fun and we all get to share stuff and get to know each other better and some goofy stuff. These conversations happen routinely here. You just got to listen in on
Yeah.
kind of
the
a normal
kitchen
normal
conversation.
kitchen conversation. Thank you, listeners, for checking out the Strong by Design show today. It was a lot of fun. Just has some goofy, spooky, scary stories, and we would appreciate certainly a 5-star rating and review on iTunes or wherever you download the podcast. We would greatly appreciate that because that really helps us, become more recognized, more visible, and can lead other people to find our show. So we thank you in advance for that. And as always, we'll be back next week with another episode here on Strong by Design. And we'll be talking to you really soon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for listening to the Strong by Design podcast. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe so that more people can find out about our show. Plus, you don't want to miss any future episodes with the amazing guests and topics we have lined up for you.